Hey yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone, everywhere? Welcome back to another video, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video out, please, and thank you. I appreciate every last thing that y'all do for me, and I'm trying to do back for y'all. Like this information right here, man. I'm gonna go over all the classic powers in the game and tell y'all what is the best ones and what are the easiest ones to master. Okay, I mean best by like what does the most damage, what's best for their support role, etc. like that. And the other would be what's just easiest to master. All right, some of these have a little bit more depth to them to get a really good grasp of that power, to see how to master it and manipulate it in certain ways to make it flourish. Others are pretty more straightforward and it's really easy to do kind of deal. But without further ado, let's hop into this video. All right, now for our classic game powers or starter game powers, whatever you want to call it, you're a beginner, you're free to play, you haven't paid for membership, anything like that, then you're only going to have nature, sorcery as your healer powers, mental as a troll power, ice and fire as tanks, and gadgets as another troll. I don't know why I didn't put gadgets up here, but is what it is. From light on down are all the powers that you either have to buy them separately, or you can go ahead and get a membership and you have access to all the powers. Now it's only like 15 bucks a month ish, depending on where you're at and whatnot. And if you get more months, it goes lower in price per month cost. So if you're gonna be active, I definitely recommend you get a membership. It's pretty worth it in my opinion. Now back to the starter game powers. Out of the two for healer, nature and sorcery, I will have to say that sorcery is the easier one to master. It's more straightforward. You understand the power interactions a lot better. You don't have to sit here and do a whole separate loadout and form changes and stuff like that to make it work. It's pretty much straight up. You even get to get a pet and whatnot. You have a couple pets of your choosing to help fight alongside you, do damage for you, heal you, etc. So sorcery would be your healer power choice. All right, and if you don't know what healer is like I says over here to the side. You basically heal your allies, make sure the health bar is always up, or at least up high enough so that they don't die in content. Okay, heal yourself and your allies. All right, it's pretty much your job nowadays, especially in-game content. You may even have to heal supercharges depending on what kind of healer you are. There's different avenues to go and whatnot. You can battle heal, which is like a hybrid of doing damage and healing at the same time. So you have that option as well, and sorcery is an excellent pick for that as well. But yeah, now I will have to say nature is the better healer power to pick in terms of doing more damage, and not only doing more damage but also healing once you get a real good grasp on it. Just because of the supercharge that come with nature, you're able to shapeshift, kind of like Beast Boy from Teen Titans. And with that being said, you get buffs for different transformations. You have wolf form, gorilla form, you turn to a dog, and you can turn to an insect. So those are a few forms right there. Insect form is more for healing. Dog is more for trolling and PvP. Gorilla form is for doing damage mostly, but you can use it for healing, I guess, if you really want to. Or PvP is kind of all around. Most people use it for single target damage though. And wolf form is more melee damage. All right, but with those forms there, you gotta have a loadout for each form, and sometimes they can be very confusing for new players, man, depending on how old or young and how intuitive and all this other stuff. There's a lot of factors that go into it. A lot of times it get more complicated than needs to be. So I recommend sorcery for just the easier way to go about if you want to still be a healer. Okay, now on to controller. As it says over there, you're pretty much restores yourself and your allies' power. You'll debuff enemies, whether it be a damage debuff, so they don't do that much damage to you and your teammates. A defense debuff, which allows you to hit them harder and weaken their defenses. You can have a healing debuff, so your enemies are not allowed to heal as much as they once, were able to. You can also, you're also more likely going to have to do a lot of the mechanics in the background, whether it be hitting certain gear cogs to trigger mechanics, or, you know, delivering and escorting certain people here and there. You're pretty much going to have to do all the mechanics of whatever content it is, okay? That's what you are there for. Now, in terms of what is the best controller power from the starter set, I would have to say Gadgets. Gadgets is pretty good. It's considered one of the best powers in the game. Let me say it like that. Outside of it being a part of just a classic set, in terms of all the powers, it's number 1 to number 2, depending on who you ask. Okay, electricity is, you know, the other one. It's pretty good right now. But Gadgets requires you to do a lot of in and out of invisibility, which gives you a whole nother loadout, and manipulating certain powers, and clipping, which is where you clip the animation to make it look like you're pretty much doing a lot of stuff at once, and you are, but it also makes your character look like they're glitching out and bugging. So I mean, hey, it is what it is. You're being very powerful though when doing it. But for new players, I definitely recommend you do mental. Mental, you're able to go invisible as well and have the extra loadout bar to have more abilities there, which is cool, and it's very similar to Gadgets in that sense. Kind of like very similar powers, but mental will be a little bit more straightforward and doesn't require you to actually go into invisibility to do the amount of damage that you need to do, you know, to hit certain goals or milestones, whatever, stuff like that. Okay, you have the capability of doing it, but it doesn't require you to do it. Gadgets is more of a requirement to do it because it's Gadgets. Okay. Now, I know before y'all come to me in the comments, for those who've been playing, yes, you can do stuff without going invisible and stuff like that. Let's be honest. If you want to be top of the leaderboard, you know, scoreboard chasing, all that stuff, DPS competitions, you're going to be using invisibility and all of that. As opposed to mental, you may use invisibility. I've seen people without using invisibility and do some pretty good loadouts there. So it just depends on your loadout and your rotation and your, you know, skill points, artifacts too, and gear. But yeah, that is my controller analysis, if you want to call it. Pick mental for easier time, but pick Gadgets if you're okay with the learning curve and want to be one of the strongest in the game. In terms of damage, on the controller side of things, are both pretty good. Mental does just have the ability to turn people into like phantom ghosts, but when they're in that ghost form, they can, you know, panic and go around sporadically, so it's kind of hard to keep them controlled in terms of the tank job and later content. So a lot of people don't like mental for that, for certain content, but a lot of people don't like Gadgets as well because you entrap people in basically stasis balls and they start rolling around and stuff. So that used to get very annoying for people as well. But on to the tank powers. Now, tank, and for the classic game, we have ice and we have fire. All right. And for these two powers here, I would definitely recommend that you go fire. Okay, fire is not only fantastic, one of the absolute best single target damage DPS powers in the whole game, including all the powers there, but it's also a fantastic tank. It is arguably the second best tank in the game. First will have to be Rage, but you can check out my other videos if you wanted to know more in depth about what's better than what, and, you know, read the comment section of those videos too. People have been talking and sharing their, you know, 2 cents, having their piece, arguing, whatever the case may be. Check out the comment section. All right. But fire will be my recommendation of the way to go. You don't require an extra loadout that ice actually gives you with the ice elemental form. You kind of look like Bobby Frost from X-Men. I'm not going front. But with fire, it's just pretty simple, pretty sweet, and pretty to the point. All right, I would definitely recommend, out of all the classic game powers, you definitely give fire a try. It's not only easy because you just burn stuff and that's your power interaction. Once they're burning, you do more damage to burning things, as opposed to everyone else. Like, some have one power interaction, like I think it's like bad karma here, but mental has burning, freezing, you know, it has multiple. gadgets has electrifying, burning, freezing, and it has multiple. So fire is one. A lot of things burn that fire has the abilities of, and then you do more damage because of it. So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. All right. Now you are a tank when you pick fire, and if you're trying to pick a tank power, okay. And all that means is pretty much you are going to be the one in the trenches. You're going to be the forefront of the team. A lot of times you'll lead the team. You are going to be sitting here, let the boss hit on you and pound on you till its heart's content or until it goes down by your team. And you're going to get the boss attention. A lot of times, even with the ads, you got to pull them over towards you. You pretty much don't do that get over here kind of deal and pull them near you. Fire is excellent for this. With fire, you're able to self-heal yourself, and a lot of loadouts now are able to do that to a great degree to where you almost don't even need a healer. Okay, fire is pretty self-sufficient. I know when I was playing fire, man, I had a blast. I was not required to have a healer or anything because I was be able to be good on my own, how I manipulate and use my powers. So I had a fantastic time with fire, and I'm sure y'all will too. Everyone that's tried fire liked it, to my knowledge. Only a few people said they want to try the powers because they look, flashy and better or newer or whatever. Okay, but fire is an excellent power to choose and will be my number one pick. All right, overall of the classic game powers, but also number one for easiest to use and best. Now, ice is starting to be up there, especially with the Frost Blast. It is doing tremendous things here recently, and it goes out of flux. Sometimes it's really good, really bad, really good, really bad. It's starting to come into a really good phase right now for, I would probably say this year. This year is pretty good, okay? I would say with ice, and when it comes to ice, you definitely can't go wrong, okay? It's not like you're gonna pick the wrong power or whatnot, but it's definitely something that you will try out to see if you like. Now with ice, its tanking style is not self-heal. It's more of a being like a turtle. You block a lot. Fire, you don't block. You just fight. Ice, you have to block. Okay, if you're not blocking, you're pretty much gonna die. You have to pop your shields. Okay, and your shields only take so much damage, so then you got to get another shield ready and pop that. Because if you don't have your shield and you ain't blocking, you gonna die with ice. Just put it like that, okay? You don't have the health pool, but you have an excellent defense, okay, to mitigate a lot of damage. Now, with that being said, ice struggles with a lot of ads or very high hit point mechanics in the game. Stuff that one-shot you and stuff like that still does that to ice. Fire, you're able to build up your health enough with the tanking to sometimes avoid that. Most time you'll still die. Ice, especially with some of the mechanics in the game, they can hit you through your shield, so then you're really going to be dead then. Or if there's a lot of ads, a lot of things hitting you, a lot of enemies hitting you at once, it just eats through your shield, and you only have so many shields you're able to have in your loadout because you have 6 abilities they're able to do from your loadout. And out of that, if they eat through all your shields and everything's on cooldown, you're going to be struggling, man. Your healer's going to be upset with you. You're going to have to make the troll or the healer pop their group shields to save you and whatnot. It can be a bad time. But if you're able to build up your character high enough, and depending on the content, ice is the way to go. Because I will say some ice tanks do magnificent things. You never need to heal them because their shield's always up and taking so much damage. So they're always good. They're able to control their cooldowns and stuff like that. It's just a good time all around. I'm not gonna front. Fire, you just have to keep healing, and it can get annoying. But at least like, as long as your heal is good, or depending on how your fire is spec'd, you'll be straight. Ice, you just have to worry about which content you are running to see if you're gonna be straight or not, honestly. A lot of content you'll still be good and still be able to get through it. You'll just have to accommodate as such. In terms of DPS side of ice is pretty good right now. It is phenomenal, even some would say. Does a lot of good damage, a lot of hard hitting damage, especially when it crits. Ice elemental form is magnificent, but that also requires you have another loadout, so it will require a little bit of a skill and mental capacity gap with that, because you have to remember stuff and, you know, trigger your other loadout and be in that and see if you want to get out of that loadout in that form to go back to your normal form, whatever the case may be. It all just depends, okay? So take this all with a grain of salt, see what you like, test different powers out, see how you feeling with. Try out the powers I said try out. Once again, for healer, it's sorcery. For troll, it's mental. And for tank, it is fire. Those are the best ones that I feel are going to be the easiest time for y'all, okay? Easiest to grasp, easy to get a hold of, easiest to master, okay? Now, in terms of what is the best in the game currently right now, I would have to say for healer, it's going to be nature. For troll, it's going to be gadgets. And for tank, I would even still go back to fire. Ice is definitely up and coming. Depending on who you ask, it's arguable to see which is better between ice or fire. Some say ice, some say fire. I'm one of the ones that leans more towards fire because a single target on fire is insane. Ice is more like a, you know, 2 to 3 targets, and it can be better there. But yeah. Try it out. Let me know in the comment section down below how you feel. What is your powers? What is your recommendations? Etc. Etc. Let me know what videos y'all would like to see in the future. And without further ado, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video out. We're on a road to 1,000 subs. At 1,000 subs, I will be doing a membership giveaway, okay? 10 DCUO Universe online memberships to this game right here will come out of my pocket and go into y'all's accounts, okay? 10 of my subscribers. Once we get to 1,000 subs, that is. If you want to sit here and get a whole bunch of different cool looking rare items, expensive items, etc., definitely check out my channel. I have plenty of giveaways to give out. Multiple things. I got a community post I just posted yesterday telling you about all the current giveaways that are going on right now. And without further ado, man, shalom.